Now, the Ghana Journalists Association is calling for the intervention of Vice President Dr. Muhammadu Buhamia in investigations into the assault of multimedia journalist Lateef Idris. The call comes months after the journalist was brutalized by several police officers whilst reporting on a sitting of the Opposition National Democratic Congress at the police headquarters. The GJA, at a news conference in Accra on Friday, says it is frustrated that the police administration has so far failed to bring the perpetrators to book. Efwa Evans-Chinwe reports.
The attack on Lateef Idris in March left him hospitalized for a while after doctors identified a fracture in his skull. He has been away from work since to enable doctors to attend to him. In his last interview on Ghana Police Watch, Lateef was disappointed the police had still not been able to identify his attackers.
I was treated like a hardened criminal who was arrested by a mob in a lawless state.
GJA President Afel Moni said the tardy manner the police is handling the assault case of Lateef Idris is frustrating and cannot be accepted. He mentioned that petitioning the Vice President, who chairs the Police Council, should bring pressure to bear on them to fast-track the investigations.
We'll wait till we hear from the police. If they fail to respond to our call to expedite action and expose the perpetrators, and after exposing them, we expect the Law and Order Committee, particularly the police, to deal surgically with the perpetrators of the brutality against Lateef.
He also stressed that the police service claim that they cannot identify the perpetrators because it was late at night must not be encouraged.
A recent interview by the Commissioner of Police, COP Nathan Kofi Boachi, on the police handling of the matter on an Accra-based television station leaves us more worried. He said, and I quote, "The journalist himself could not identify the people, even if we assembled them. And all those around could not identify the culprit because it was dark and in an alley. So we are still trying to identify the policemen. If the person assaulted cannot identify them, then it behoves us to use other means to identify the policemen, which we are earnestly doing. But the assurance is that if through our CCTV and other things we are able to identify the policemen, then the law will take its course. So for Lateef, we are all concerned. We work with him and will do everything possible to solve this particular problem in order to maintain the cordial relationship between we and the press," unquote. The foregoing transcript of CAP Kofi Boachi's comments makes us wonder about the commitment of the Ghana Police Service in ensuring justice prevail for our colleague Lateef.
Chief Executive Officer of the Telecoms Chamber, Ken Ashigbe, on his part, said the act of assaulting journalists for doing their job must stop now, adding that journalists must give prominence to issues of their own and must be consistent with it.
We are not able to provide journalists that peace of mind to think that I should be able to go out and do my assignment and come back in one whole piece. How do you think they'll be able to do this courageously? Because the very nature of our jobs means that we need to challenge the status quo. The Constitution gives us a mandate to hold our leaders to account. And for me, when it says leaders, it's not only just political leadership. Every leader to account. But what do we see? A journalist goes to cover a football game and then he's beaten up by the brothers of the captain of the Black Stars. People go to court to go and cover court, and then the families of the suspects will beat them up. People might even go and cover church services, and you find pastors beating them up. We go to the police, we are beating up. We cover political parties, we are beating up. And it's not right. It has to stop.
The Ghana Journalists Association says it will be compelled to resort to other measures if the police fails to make progress by next week. Efwa Evans-Chinwe for Joy News.
Parliament will on Monday begin considering the more than 140 suggested amendments to the RTI for approval. Parliament's Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee submitted its report on the draft bill to the House last month, proposing the amendment. With 3 weeks for the House to go on a break, member of the committee, Mahama Shaibu, says MPs are committed to passing the bill before the break.
I'm confident that we will start. We have got the advertised amendments. We currently are dealing with the Legal Aid Commission bill. I think that once we're done with the Legal Aid Commission bill, we now zoom into the RTI. We have over 40 to 50 advertised amendments to look at. Apart from that, you also have non-advertised amendments. Members may wish to do further amendments on the floor. And so I'm confident I will start with the consideration stage next week, hopefully.
So with about 3 weeks for the House to go on break, is it possible we'll be able to round it up before the 26th when the House eventually adjourns?
Remember, the whole of the week we start close up to about 8:30, just to make sure we push most of the bills. We are hopeful that if there are no contentious issues to be discussed on the floor as far as the advertised amendments are concerned, within 3 weeks we should be able to get that through. Barring any difficulty, I'm confident that we should be able to get that the RTI through. Yeah, the commitment is there. Remember we traveled out a couple of occasions with stakeholders to get this really thoroughly done at the committee level. And so, back here it's a different ball game altogether. Once you come to plenary, you have the whole House, looking at it from different eyes. And so we are hoping that we did a great job on it as a committee, and we will not have much challenges. But hey, you never know. This is a bill that has been hanging on it for quite some time now. You never know what is up the sleeves of some members who may have some specific difficulties with some specific clauses. And so we still can only hope that the advertised amendments are the ones we will be dealing with and not other further amendments that we propose at the plenary.
The National Labour Commission has begun hearing the case involving workers of the Bus Rapid Transport Service, popularly known as Ayalolo. Workers of the service have been on a partial strike, demanding payment of the delayed salaries. The workers say they have not been paid for 3 months. Speaking to Joy News after the hearing between the management and staff of Ayalolo Friday, the NLC chair, Andrew Kwabna Asamoah, gave management of the service 14 working days to take the necessary steps to remedy the situation.
The Ayalolo workers are complaining because they are not getting their full salary, and in some instances they are being paid half salary. The management have problem with financial problems, so that is where the whole thing is. But as transportation is an essential service, the Commission has a responsibility to fast track it. We therefore call for a compulsory arbitration. On Monday, we'll send letters to both the workers and the management to meet on Wednesday. There will be a 3-member commission members who will meet with them vigorously to pursue the whole matter. Maximum 14 working days, we must take a final decision. So this is where we are. But the workers have no right now to go on strike, because they are essential service, and we have already declared a compulsory arbitration. So this is where we are as of now. They are supposed to go back to work. They are supposed to be given, even if not the full amount, some funds to keep them going. And as I said, within 2 weeks, the whole thing will be resolved. So there will be a solution one way or the other. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Joining us is learning teachers who were sanctioned for their roles in the Jusuman SHS sex scandal are still at post. Authorities of the school explain they are awaiting official communication from the Ghana Education Service on the said sanctions. 4 of the teachers, according to the Ministry of Education, have been dismissed, while 4 will be transferred and made to sign a bond of good behavior. Vijay News checks indicate the teachers will continue with their normal duties until they have been formally notified. One of the victims, meanwhile, says the school environment has become extremely hostile to them and some of the teachers mock them during classes.
At first, when I heard about the dismissal, I was very happy and I rejoiced about it. But later on, when I heard that some have been transferred, I wasn't that much happy about it because those teachers who have been transferred have that behavior in them. So they are going to do the same thing at the new school they are going to be transferred into. So I want the government to dismiss them as he have done with the others.
Tell me, what did these teachers do that makes you think that they will be dangerous to other students if they are allowed to teach?
There is one teacher, they would think that their case wasn't that much serious. That's why some have been withdrawn and they are being transferred. So they will get the morality to do the same thing as they were doing.
Give me vivid accounts of what you suffered in terms of sexual abuse and other things, and what other things you experienced in the school that makes you think that these teachers are a danger.
Our headmistress told us that our school fees payments had not been made, so we should go home and bring the money, or we should come to our parents. So he said that he was going to Edum Passport Office. So I have also told him that I stay at Amekum and he's coming to Edum, so he would pass at Stadium and he would drop me there. So when I sat in his car, he just removed his manhood and told me to put it in my mouth and suck it. But I told him that I can't do it. But when we reached Stadium, he wasn't going for any meal, but he still wanted me to suck his penis for him. So when we reached there, he just pulled up his shirt and he told me to do the same thing again. But I still refused. Then he told me to just use my hand to rub his penis for him. But I refused it.
The parents of some of the victims are not impressed with the sanctions meted out to the teachers. Edward Mensah, whose daughter was made to perform oral sex with one of the teachers, says beyond dismissals and transfers, the teachers would have to be prosecuted.
Teachers and 9 year transfer.
I was happy when I heard that some teachers have been sacked, but what is very disappointing is the transfer of some teachers. The story about the sex scandal is true. I was present at the committee.
How
can such wicked teachers be transferred? What do authorities think will happen in their new schools? They won't learn any lesson. They have to be punished. They must all be sacked to avoid further occurrences.
Now, Deputy Minister of Education in charge of pre-tertiary, Dr. Yao Educhum, joins me for more on this issue. Thank you for making time, Dr. Educhum. Now, you've heard what some of the affected students or the victims and their parents are saying. They're saying essentially that the transfers and dismissals are not good enough.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on your show and also to reach your audience. I'm very grateful. I heard the complaints of the parents. First of all, I would like to commend GES for taking action against those they deem culpable in terms of the facts that were presented initially to the district committee and then to the regional committee that reviewed the first set of recommendations. I have no facts in front of me to say that those who were transferred were culpable as well, but somehow they were given a lenient punishment. If we get any information from parents or students, the victims, about those who were transferred, obviously, since we don't condone the attitude and actually the offense that were committed by the four, I will not condone it for any other of them in terms of meting out a lighter punishment for them. And therefore, any facts that comes out as a ministry, we'll be able to take a look at it. But all that I want to say is this. You see, obviously, if I'm a parent, I'll be disappointed. I heard the parent saying the sacking is not enough. Ghana Education Service has a code of conduct that they follow. That is what they have followed. They don't have prosecutorial rights. That belongs to other security agencies, or the police, for that matter. So what is within the authority of the Ghana Education Service is what they have done at this point.
Is the ministry going to take it up from there?
Mm-hmm. Hello?
Is the ministry then going to take it up from where the Ghana Education Service has left off?
The ministry does not prosecute cases. I think it's obvious that it's a law enforcement issue.
But would you want to propose?
The Ministry of Education, whenever crime occurs, it really doesn't matter where it occurs. Law enforcement, as I've always alluded to, in my opinion, law enforcement might even be taking the lead. In this country, somehow we've gotten it backwards, and we are now reviewing policies about child abuse and sexual harassment in our schools, and those are things that we're going to take seriously, because I think it's disgusting for a parent to send their children to school to have them abused by the same people who are supposed to take care of them and protect them. So we will not condone that, and we're setting up a committee now to look at all those cases. I think it should be an interministerial kind of action. Other ministries have jurisdiction on protection of children. The police have jurisdiction in terms of investigation of criminal behavior. And Ghana Education Service, of course, has jurisdiction in terms of punishment for professional misconduct. So I think we have to take a holistic view at these issues, as I've already said, and be able to allow other agencies to do to perform their rightful responsibilities and duties.
In effect, you're expecting the police to do their job.
I'm not saying that, but the police know their responsibilities. I'm just saying, Ghana Education Service, a professional organization in terms of implementers of the policy of the Ministry of Education, what they have authority over is to terminate employment and to let the employee know that you don't belong here. You can't work for us anymore. But they can't do anything beyond that.
Now, one of the other issues that's outstanding is the fact that we're getting information that the teachers, or some of the teachers, are still at post, even those who are supposed to be dismissed. And this is causing some harm to the victims involved. When are they going to get a formal notification to make the move?
So far as I knew, some of them had been interdicted before this whole thing began, the investigations began. So I find it hard to believe that they are still at post. Tomorrow I will be speaking with the Director General of Ghana Education Service. If it is true, of course, they should leave campus immediately. You can't dismiss people and have them stay there. So if it is true that they are still there, it's something that action will be taken immediately.
One of the victims
for them to leave.
One of the victims we spoke with talks about the fact that some of these teachers are mocking them in class. Not just the teachers mocking them, but the environment itself is not friendly to them because they are being mocked. Would you suggest they be moved away from the school entirely?
What I would suggest that if a parent is not comfortable, a student is not comfortable in that environment, I will not tell them to stay there. Ghana Education Service have so many schools, even within the Jeso municipality and other areas. And under those circumstances, I think it will be legitimate for a parent to request that my child deserves another school, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Yao Educhum. Dr. Yao Educhum is the Deputy Minister of Education in charge of pre-tertiary. We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but still ahead. In the bulletin, members of Parliament of governing New Patriotic Party advising delegates converging in the Eastern Region capital to vote in executives who can work with the President. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, former GFA Communications Director Ibrahim Sani Dara is suing investigative journalist Anas Aremianas for violating his privacy and defaming him. The secret recording and subsequent broadcast of number 12, according to lawyers of Mr. Dara, amounted to violation of the client's right to privacy of his communication. In earlier media interviews, Mr. Dara insisted he never demanded a bribe from the Tiger Eye PI agent. He is demanding 20 million cedis as damages, as he argues that the publication has created a wrong impression of him as a corrupt, fraudulent, crooked and dishonest employee of the Ghana Football Association. Now, Raymond Aqua has joined me here in the studio with bits of what Mr. Sani Dara's lawyers are saying in this suit that they filed. Raymond, you tell us what exactly is Mr. Sani Dara looking for here?
So first and foremost, he wants an apology that what he said, the encounter, did not in any way, he did not make any reference to a request for money, a decision to be corrupt, engage in bribery of any sort. And if he fails to do so, and in addition, actually, 20 million Ghana cedi, 20 million plus lawyers' fees, and any other monies that may be required.
20 million?
Yes, plus lawyers' fees. You know that Anas is also demanding 20 million from, so he may balance out anyway, but that's 20 million plus lawyers' fees, and also any other amount of money that the court may deem appropriate. First and foremost, you want to determine that the words that have been attributed to him, the content of the video shown, and everything that has been said about this by Anas on platforms is defamatory to his very person. He gives his history and what he has done, why his image is important, and why this is of a very important damaging effect on his life as a human being. Now, one thing that is unclear, which he said to put straight, was really what happened on the tape and what happened in reality. He believes that the people who came to him, who were unknown to him, were talking about a certain Thomas Abe, who is a footballer, who they wanted called up to the Black Stars team. He made it very clear that he couldn't influence the process. That's what he says. He also made it very clear that it's a very rigorous process and that because he doesn't have the influence, they should look at improving the player's quality of play wherever he is so that the coaches may actually see him rather than coming to him. He says he didn't demand for, he didn't make any request, and did not take any money. Indeed, in the video, it is shown that he was being, oh, you can take something. And that's the same word he used there. Yes, he was being asked to take something. He said he rejected it and said, oh, no, it's because we are now more like friends and it's not going to bribe anything, that you're giving us good advice. The advice to go and make sure the guy trains well and all of that is the good advice you've given us. So take this amount of money. He said upon persistence, he asked them to give it to the gentleman who called him. That gentleman works with the investigative team and not with him. And that he did not give it to anybody who is with him or from the GFA. Right. And that he did not go there at all with anybody from the GFA. Indeed, he did not go into the meeting as a representative of the GFA because it was a private one. So he didn't take the money. He didn't give the money to somebody belonging to the GFA, as was made to look like when he said, give it to the guy. So that's what he's saying fully.
All right.
Now, disputing what really was captured on tape as they trying hard and he finally took the money and asked that it be given to somebody else. He also says that when the incident happened, quickly, he reported to the ethics committee of the GFA. Secondly, he reported to the coaching and the management team of the Black Stars about what has happened. And he also reported to his superiors. And a man with evil intent, willing to take and be bribed in this process, will not do so. That's his argument. Then he proceeded to say that all of this is without doubt that there was mischief intended. There was a deliberate decision by Anas and Co. to drag his good image and put him in a position where they will say he's engaged in bribery, corruption, and unethical conduct. Indeed, he says that any right-thinking member of this society would perceive what has been captured on the tape as very defamatory to him,
right,
as running his image down and very costly to what he has built over the years that he's been with the GFA and other institutions which he lists anyway.
Okay, so that's the first issue that Anas is having to deal with, or Anas's lawyers are having to deal with right now. The second issue is that I think Central MP Kennedy Japong, he has dragged investigative journalist Anas Anas to the General Legal Counsel, accusing him of misconduct professionally as a lawyer. And Raymond, you have a copy of this letter.
Yes, the letter proceeds to say that the man, together with Chief State Attorney Ellen Kwaukome, were discussing how they can collaborate and work together and taint evidence which is being gathered by Anas with his view to obstruct the course of justice in a certain case which involves one Mohammed Hafiz Abdullah. And if you've watched, and he said he's actually quoting Who Watches the Watchman, which was premiered on the 27th day of June by the Salis newspaper together with Net2 on the network Net2.
Yeah.
So he's saying that that video suggests that Anas was colluding with one's Chief State Attorney Ellen Kwaukome to make sure that they subvert justice, they taint the evidence in that particular case. And the amount of money involved was $400,000. In fact, $75,000 was supposed to go to the director of CID then, Frank Adupoku, and also $5,000 to, and it actually says here that the $5,000 had already been transferred into the account of the Chief State Attorney in this case. It suggests that how the case ended and what followed from there shows that Anas deliberately, as a lawyer, as somebody who sworn the oath to go and defend people and protect the laws of this country, breached it, was willing to subvert justice, and also to taint same with his own work. He wants them to investigate that, like they've done in other cases, and bring him to justice because it is alien to the conduct of lawyers in the country.
Okay, so this is the second issue that Anas's lawyers are having to deal with. Well, Anas's lawyer, K.C. Ejapong, he has been reacting to the action of Kennedy Ejapong.
I like the zeal of the parliamentarian, but it's a misplaced zeal. He has no idea what he's doing. He is being ill-advised. He is passionate for nothing. He is on a war path against someone who is far above him in terms of research, painstaking, patiently acquired information. He goes about buying information. The people who sell to him the information have no intention of selling him the truth. All they want is money from him, and he gets information from them. 2% of it may be true, 98% of it will be totally false. Now, if he says he's dragged my client to the General Legal Counsel, then he should be ready to respond to how he managed to fake a court process. The basis upon which he said the case was dismissed is a fake court process that he faked and put on social media. And he then accuses someone of moral turpitude. I have all that in my possession. The fake court process, the actual court process. What he used as a basis, and I'm saying it today, what he used as a basis to say the case was dismissed, is a fake court process. How does a member of parliament fake a court process, put it on social media, and use it as a basis for them accusing someone of moral turpitude?
You're watching Joy News, when we're taking a break to bring you business news. But still ahead, members of parliament of the governing New Patriotic Party are advising delegates converging in the Eastern Region capital to vote in executive who can work with the president. We will be live in Koforidua. Do stay tuned.
Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to Business Now. The Controller and Accountant General's Department says it is working towards restraining public officials from buying treasury bills with state funds for their personal gains. As a first step, metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies as well as other state agencies will no longer bank with commercial banks. Controller and Accountant General Eugene Asante Ofusuhene says all such funds will now be moved into the Bank of Ghana. He spoke at a meeting with ministries, departments and agencies in Kumasi. Prince Appiah has more.
The move by the Controller and Accountant General's Department is meant to check institutions from hijacking funds meant for projects for profits before releasing them for the intended purpose. The Controller and Accountant General, Eugene Asante Ofosuhene, says the measures to halt what he describes as cheating the state have already taken effect at ministries, departments and agencies. Mr. Asante Ofosuhene spoke at a meeting with ministries, departments and agencies in Kumasi. The meeting was the first between the new Controller and Accountant General and members of the department.
One will ask, what is the reason for government to pursue such a policy? The reasons are many. Government through the budgetary process allot or allocate funds to various MDAs, and these monies go into the sub-CFs. You know what they were doing? Many of them, when they even get the money, they are not even ready to disburse the funds, because they have been able to apply for, what do you call it, commencement certificates and whatnot. Or if it's a normal recurrent expenditure, their goods and services will be released to them. And sometimes, even if it's capex, they go through with the view that they need the money to go and pay to the contractor. Such monies, when they are released, they keep them in their accounts, and then they turn around and use the money to buy government treasury bills. Are you getting it? They use the same money, government-owned money, to invest in treasury bills. And who buys the treasury bill? The same government goes at the auction to buy the treasury bill. So government is being cheated. Government's own money, he goes to buy his own money and pay huge interest for that. We thought it's not the best. It shouldn't even to be the case. We shouldn't think about that. How can government release funds and then the MDAs are not in a position to use the money? Then they will turn around and ask the banks, buy treasury bill with my money in the bank until such that I need it, then you redeem it. So
Mr. Asante Ofosuhene says compelling state institutions to bank with the central bank is the way to go.
Some of the SOEs are also still operating at the various commercial banks. I'm referring to SOEs like the Gapoha, the Go Board, Senate, and the rest of it. When we get to the second phase, all of them will be collapsed and then swept to the Bank of Ghana. Government position has improved. When all the monies are moved to the Bank of Ghana, you cannot buy any treasury bill, but the monies are in your accounts at Bank of Ghana. And government, once the monies are all at the central bank, government can always be in the position, if it wants to borrow such money, it can take the money from those accounts, use it and put it back. Are you getting it? And here, government doesn't pay any interest.
He also reviewed new reforms by the Controller and Accountant General's Department to address certain challenges within the public sector. He says they are also going to issue reports on statutory funds in the country. Prince Apia report.
The Board of Directors of Barclays Bank Ghana Limited has appointed Abna Osei-Poku as the new Managing Director of the bank. She's taking over from Patience Achiano, who will be leaving the bank at the end of September.
Madam Osei-Poku's appointment, if approved by the Bank of Ghana, will be effective 1st October 2018. She will in the coming months work closely with Madam Achiano to ensure a smooth transition and handover process. Until now, Madam Osei-Poku has served as head of coverage north of Barclays Bank corporate and investment banking business, rest of Africa. She was appointed to that role in early 2017, and she has been covering the CIB cluster markets of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Ghana. She brings to this role over 15 years of Pan-African experience in banking gained across several regions, including West, Central, and East Africa. She previously served as corporate director of Barclays Bank Ghana with oversight responsibility for Barclays Bank Uganda, and has been credited with the turnaround of the corporate banking business in Barclays Ghana. She joined Barclays Bank from Standard Chartered Bank in 2010, where she held various senior roles.
Now, are you feeling a little stressed or overwhelmed with planning your wedding? Well, rise above the stress by meeting the experts to help make your right choices for your wedding at the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair. Ahead of the event, some sponsors have been whetting the appetite of customers on what to expect at the fair.
Angel Angel's Beauty Suppliers have been regulars on the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair for years now, but this year they have climbed up as one of the main sponsors of the event. The reason is simple. The Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair has continued to remain a success. Angela Eduamwa, CEO of Angel's Beauty Supplies, is looking forward to another great year.
Oh, it's been wonderful. I like the feedback that we get after the fair. So Joy Bridal Fair has been a very good.
Angela is promising a wide range of products and services to customers during the 3-day fair. From cosmetics, skin to hair products, Angel's Beauty Supplies promises to offer customers the best when it comes to beauty products.
We usually advertise for Cantu, but this year we had the Jamaican black castor oil. The relaxer line is a new line that we just brought in, and we have the skin repair oils as well. We have massage oils and a lot of oils. And this time is all about oils, so people should come in and see us.
Another sponsor of the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair is Black Secret Makeup. Over the years, the brand has been a trusted partner. Business Development Manager of Black Secret, Maxwell Mensah, says they are always on the lookout for the fair yearly.
We at Black Secret, we find the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair as a very credible platform for us. Over the years, it has offered us the opportunity to reach large audiences of women, especially those who are just getting ready for their marriage, and so we always look forward to Bridal Fair. Actually, we already start planning for Bridal Fair before you start planning for a Bridal Fair, even though it's your event, because we know the power that it presents.
Black Secret says it has variety of products for customers who walk into their stand during the fair. Aside advising ladies on the right products for their skin tones, Black Secret Makeup will be giving free makeup for every lady who visits their stand. And even before the fair, I had my free face beads.
So how do I look? Well, I came into Black Secret Makeup with my class 1 makeup. But look at me. Well, even before the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair, I have my professional makeup on, and they're promising you same at the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair between the 12th and the 15th. See you there because I'll be there.
For prospective couples, the place to be between the 12th and the 15th is the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair at the Accra International Conference Center. There will be a variety of products on display at discounted rates. And if you're concerned about where to place your kids before coming for the fair, just relax, because there will be a toddler corner to entertain your wards. This year's fair promises to be exciting, as your favorite on-air personalities will thrill you on the runway during the fashion show on Saturday. The Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair, where beauty comes alive and your walk down the aisle begins.
You look perfect tonight.
So you make a date on Thursday, the 12th of July for the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair. And on that note, we wrap up business for tonight. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Apuachi. Have a good evening.
Members of the governing New Patriotic Party are converging in the Eastern Region capital, Koforidua, this weekend to elect a new set of executives. The 6,000 delegates drawn from all the party's branches from across the country will select from amongst the 41 aspirants seeking to be elected to the various positions. Joy News, as always, is bringing you comprehensive coverage of the conference, and our team of reporters and technicians are already on ground. Gifty and Rapia joins me live from Koforidua with less than 12 hours to the opening. Hello, Gifty. I can imagine the hordes of party sympathizers, delegates and party officials trooping into the town as we speak. What's the level of activity? Is it bustling or hectic? All right, we do not have Gifty at the moment, but we are going to be establishing contact with her in a bit. But the party is indeed having this election to, as I indicated earlier, to elect a new set of executives. We'll try and re-establish contact with Gifty right now, though. Let's take a break. We actually go and bring you showbiz. Members of the governing New Patriotic Party are converging in the Eastern Region capital, Koforidua, this weekend to elect a new set of executives. The 6,000 delegates drawn from all the party's branches from across the country will select from amongst the 41 aspirants seeking to be elected to the various positions. Joy News, as always, is bringing you comprehensive coverage of the conference, and our team of reporters and technicians are already on ground. Gifty Ando-Apia joins me live from Koforidua with less than 12 hours to the opening. Gifty, I can imagine the hordes of party sympathizer delegates and officials trooping into the town as we speak. What's the level of activity?
Of course, Israel, you certainly will expect to see those things on occasions like this. But I must say that there hasn't been so much activity. But then again, you could say that it's a limited perspective because obviously I haven't been everywhere. But what you will expect, Israel, is that hotels are fully booked and people can't even find places to stay. There also seems to be a lot of vehicles all over the place, and so you get to see a lot of traffic in town as well. In terms of security, I mean, I've seen joint police and MTCD personnel on duty doing night and day shifts, they tell me. There's also a significant number of police vehicles around. One of the officers I spoke to, he spoke to me off record, by the way, well, on immunity because he's not in charge, said they've saturated the place. He used the word, they saturated the place, and that they are in charge. But I've heard that the Director General in charge of operations is here. We don't have him at the moment, but we will get to him tomorrow to know the details of the security arrangements here. But earlier on, Israel, I went to town to find out what's happening. Obviously, you expect some last-minute campaigning. But I haven't seen the candidates around. What I've seen are groups of supporters of these candidates chanting for them, sporting t-shirts that have their pictures, etc. I've been speaking to some of them, Israel.
And he's standing for National Youth Organizer.
In terms of the national chairmanship, who are you rooting for?
To be very honest with you, national chairmanship, I'm waiting for Stephen Tim. He has suffered a lot. So we need to reward royalty.
Well, for the chairmanship race, as my brother has indicated already, if Stephen Tim emerges, I'll be very happy.
Thank you very much. Where are you from?
We are from Tama.
Tama?
Yes.
So who are you here for?
Dominic.
Dominic?
Yes.
Why Dominic?
Oh, because that is where we choose to be. Because he's the one who can do the work for us.
Why do you think he's the one who can do the work?
Everything of his shows that he can do the work.
Who are you choosing for chairman?
For the chairman, Stephen T.
Why Stephen T?
Because we choose him for him to be the chairman.
So who are your candidates? Do you want to share with us?
Our candidate, in fact, Fred Blair has served a lot. He has done a lot for the party, and I think this is the time for us to also rally behind him. This is the time for us to reward him for his loyalty to the party.
That was Gifty Ando-Apia speaking there to some of the delegates. Now, Gifty, is there any truth to the images making rounds on social media of wads of cash with images of some of the aspirants?
Well, Israel, most of the delegates I speak with here are not really very open. They don't like to talk about some of these things. They usually just tell you why they're here and wouldn't want to talk about it. But it appears there's a certain balance. Well, I must say, by the way, that those I spoke to are delegates mostly from the regions up north, so Upper East, Upper West, Northern region. Those are the places where I've been. The places where these delegates are kept, that's where I've been. And there seems to be a sort of balance between Stephen Tim and Freddie Blaze. And I'm mentioning these people because they are the pictures we're seeing on these money making rounds on social media. There are some who say that, look, Freddie Blaze has worked hard enough for us and we need to reward him. There are those who say, look, this is time for Stephen Tim because the guy has suffered so much, like you heard the guy say over there. So they don't really like to go into details. If you want to talk about money, if you want to talk about why they're supporting a particular candidate, very few of them are able to be bold to say it, as those people that I spoke to. They're not talking about it. But Israel, tomorrow, I'm sure that we will get some more information and some different perspectives to that social media thing going on. Whether or not it's for real, we'll get to know a lot of that tomorrow, Israel.
All right, thank you very much, Gifty Ando-Apia, bringing us that update. And as we indicated, We'll bring you comprehensive coverage of the National Delegates Conference of the New Patriotic Party, and we're not going to stop until we get to know who has won which position in the New Patriotic Party. Meanwhile, the camp of the New Patriotic Party National Chairman aspirant Stephen Team are distancing themselves from utterances purported to be coming from people affiliated with them. Some of the comments tend to castigate the president and some government officials. National coordinator of Stephen Team's campaign, Archibald Teria Kalite, says the actions of these individuals are attempts to create disaffection for the national chairman aspirant. He was addressing the media in Kofroidua ahead of the NPP's National Delegates Conference.
He's the type who respects the president. He respects authority. He respects all other functionaries of this party. People in government, he works close with them. For that reason, he will not do anything untoward that will be detrimental to the party. We dissociate ourselves from whoever goes on radio to make statements that is of detrimental to our campaign. We have a team of people who respond to the campaign. I'm the campaign coordinator. We have Kofi Kapito, who responds as a campaign manager. We have other people who are communicators. Anybody who comes in to make statements does that on his own volition and not in the interest of Stephen Ayesuti. These are some of the plans and ploys of our enemies to plunge into the community or the delegates as they so wish in order to make sure that we don't win. But I'm telling you, we don't know anything about it. The delegates are there to vote for us. These are propaganda issues, imaginations from the enemies who wants to destroy our campaign.
Members of Parliament are meanwhile, MPP members of Parliament are meanwhile urging the aspirants to avoid any acts that will dent the image of the party and avoid inflammatory language. Chairman of the Youth and Sports Committee, Alex Ejekum, says delegates have already made up their minds and urged the candidates to relax.
Delegates, I believe that those who are coming might have made up their minds already. And so going in, I don't think that any one of them is going to act like a steering wheel. That is not this few, it shouldn't be like these few hours that somebody is now going to stand there and say, oh, I have changed my mind. They've made up their mind already as to where they're going to vote and all. And then secondly, the contestants too must also know that by now the delegates have made up their mind already. And so they shouldn't try to throw into.
In other news, the Electoral Commission's chief accountant, who was asked to step aside during investigations into some monies that during investigation into alleged acts of malfeasance, there is demanding his reinstatement. Kwekwe J. Labi, who testified before the Chief Justice's Committee that recommended the removal of the EC's chairperson, Charlotte Osei, and the two deputies, says he's prepared to release a total of 432,000 cedis in his custody once he is reinstated. The money, according to Kwekwe J. Labi's lawyers, was given to him for safekeeping sometime in 2016 and has since been in his office. There is more in this report.
The Economic and Organized Crime Office earlier last year discovered that some 480,000 had gone missing and asked officers of the EC to proceed on leave pending investigations. An amount of 360,000 that Chief Accountant Kweku Ejay Labi is said to have received for safekeeping was later investigated by a 5-member committee constituted by the Chief Justice to probe petitions for the removal from office of 3 top guns at the EC. When subpoenaed to testify, he admitted receiving the money from Assistant Director of Electoral Service, Daniel Amenyo, adding he kept it in a safe in his office. In its recommendation, the committee asked that Ejay Labi be made to pay to the commission an amount of 360,000 he admitted had been in his custody since 2016. His lawyers in a statement stressed that 360,000 was only in their client's custody for safekeeping because, quote, it's only our client's office that had a secured safe at the commission, unquote. They add that once their client's leave is revoked, he will go back to the office, retrieve the money and hand it over to the commission. The statement said the purpose of asking Ajay Labi to proceed on leave was to allow Yoko conduct investigations into the missing 480,000 endowment fund. Mr. Ajay Labi's lawyers have forwarded a petition on the matter to the Attorney General and the Office of the President.
The Greater Accra Regional Hospital has identified stroke, diabetes and hypertension as the three major causes of death at the facility. These were the findings of a review of cases reported at the emergency department of the hospital. Head of emergency medicine at the hospital, Dr. Emmanuel Ahiable, told Kojo Yangsing the no-bed crisis could be solved if everyone adopted a healthier lifestyle.
As of last year, our performance review, in medical cases, we're seeing more stroke patients as a complication of either hypertension or any other condition. The second cause of morbidity here last year was diabetes and its complication. Like diabetes, ketoacidosis is a complication of diabetes. Then the third one was hypertension, and in that order, pneumonia in that order. For surgical cases that we saw here last year were mostly lacerations from injuries as a result of maybe a fall or a trauma or etc. So it means here we are seeing more stroke patients, as we call it, CVA in this hospital and its complications. The first three causes of morbidity to this hospital, for that matter, mortality as well. The first three are also the causes of mortality in this hospital, stroke. So they are lifestyle diseases, they are non-communicable diseases which are preventable, because the stroke cases we get here, they are as a result of hypertension. Patients who either consciously or unconsciously stopped taking their antihypertensives or did not know that they were hypertensive. So they come here in a severe form, that is a stroke. And most of the times they have a bleeding in the brain, which the prognosis is not good enough. So it ends up, either giving them complication like a stroke lesion, or either they die from it.
Dr. Emmanuel Ahiable has preferred a solution to treat floor cases in an emergency room if a consent form is signed. He says a consent form is one of many innovations his team has introduced to ensure they never have to turn away a patient in need of life-saving emergency care.
Yes, this consent form was developed here because we are getting more patients to the emergency departments. Like I said, we have 17 beds here at the orange, the red and resuscitation area, where we see critically ill patients. At times, we see patients more than that number. So we've created stretchers, trolleys, wheelchairs in between. When they come and we need to put them on the trolley or the wheelchair, they need to sign this consent form, which has been developed by the hospital management. They read through if they prefer to be in a wheelchair whilst we look for an alternative bed for them. Because what we do here is we transfer out patients to the ward once there's their beds upstairs, the fourth floor or whichever floor. So when they are available beds, then the patient is moved from the wheelchair or the trolley to the bed here. So this consent form will serve so that in case there's any complication as a result of sitting on a wheelchair or the trolley, which you call floor patients, you not query or you not blame the hospital for that. So it was developed recently. So it says that the medical staff and management board of the hospital, regional hospital, then you write your name. I thereby agree that I should be nursed on a chair or wheelchair after being informed that there is no bed available in the emergency ward or the resuscitation area. I totally agree that should anything happen to me, I hold neither the caregiver or this noble facility responsible, but myself.
Former Vice President Kwesi Hemisa Arthur is to be buried on Friday, July 27, 2018 here in Accra. At a memorial service held in Accra to mark 1 week of his passing. Spokesperson for the family, Jabesh Mr. Arthur, said the ex-vice president's family have been overwhelmed by the huge well wishes they have received over the last 1 week. The memorial service was attended by hundreds of mourners, mainly from the opposition National Democratic Congress, including former Presidents John Mahama and Jerry John Rawlings. Other top government officials and leading members of the New Patriotic Party, including the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, and Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, were also present.
We are just really saddened by it, and it was rather sudden. And my wife and I were members of the same gym, and so it really struck us very hard when we heard the news, because we didn't go to the gym on that Friday. I guess most significantly, just for us, the lesson of a citizen who has led a good, solid life, given to the private and public sector to the highest levels, and done it with elegance and integrity. And for that, we praise him. Thank you.
And then he also has set example of humility, even at his level as a vice president. He brings himself down. When he feels like talking to any of us, he will call, say, "Oh, where are you?" Then I'll come. Oh, then we'll socialize. Even at a table, my wife will serve all of us, and we will eat together, and we'll be teasing each other. I'll tell him, "Oh, my father didn't go to school, so I prefer fufu." Then anytime he sees me taking salad and say, oh, Bushman, when did you learn how to take salad? That is the type of person Barclays was.
This lesson that you're
His Excellency Mr. Atta was the finest gentleman that I've ever seen. He speaks very coolly, and he talks about issues, and he regards everybody. I think we have really lost a great man. God knows best why he took him away.
The burial service for the late Mr. Arthur is expected to be a private event to be held here in Accra. His brother, Jabesh Mr. Arthur, speaks for the family.
There will be no wake keeping. Filing past and paying of last respects will be on Friday, July 27th at the foyer of the Accra International Conference Center from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Burial service will take place on Friday, 27th July in the main auditorium of the Accra International Conference Center from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Interment will be by special invitation on Friday, July 27th at 1 p.m.
All right, and that's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night.